Good morning, Aces, and welcome back to the channel. So, y'all, after all the glitches and foolishness with Netflix, I end up watching the fight, the final round. I will say, Mike held his own for a 58-year-old man. Jake Paul, he in the ring, I feel like, he did give a quick bow of respect to Mike Tyson. A lot of people are saying that, it was fake, it was rigged. If it was a money grab, I feel like that's what boxing is, right? Like boxing is a sport, one of my favorite sports. And I feel like, it was two athletes and they did what they needed to do. Um, I'm not a huge fan of either, to be honest. Let me just go ahead and say that. Mike Tyson, like I said, I appreciate the fact that he was such a dynamic boxer, especially in his youth. He was the youngest heavyweight champion in the world, and he earned, 400 million. Then he lost it all, but then he came back and reinvented himself. So now he, is thriving, has a podcast. I think he has. Mike Bites, the gummies that he sells as well. But at the same time, I don't overlook the fact that he was horrible to, his ex-wife, Robin Gibbons. She spoke about that, all the controversy and the way that he's treated, women. He's spoken even about the way he's treated his own children. So his character, in my opinion, um, is not favorable. In addition, I'm not a fan of Jake Paul either. Now he's boasting and saying that he could have, beat Mike Tyson at any point in Tyson's career. That's false. And I feel like deep down he knows that. You know what I mean? That's the reason why he challenged a almost 60-year-old man. Like, stop the cap, because Mike Tyson in his 20s, that it would have been over in the first round. That's just my opinion. But let me go ahead and give you guys the recap real quick. Jake Paul did beat Mike Tyson by unanimous decision in the live stream Netflix fight. It was held in more than 70,000 spectators at AT&T Stadium. And as we know, Mike Tyson's 58 years old, and he went up against Jake Paul at 27 years old. So Paul is expected to have a purse of $40 million, and Tyson made $20 million. And like I said, listen, I'm not mad at it. Neither one of them, was knocked out. They both, like I said, Tyson held his own. This was Tyson's first pro fight since 2005. His career record is 50 wins, 7 losses. But this was, I feel like, a big media hype for Jake Paul, to be honest. This was the biggest moment in his whole boxing career. And he only started less than 5 years ago. So his career record is 11 wins and 1 loss. So yeah. I don't know, maybe I was nostalgic and thinking that Mike would come out on top, because nobody can beat Father Time, right? He's the ultimate winner in all of our lives. Our lives are but a vapor. That's what it says in the Bible. Life is truly, truly short. That old adage, the days are long and the years are short, definitely proves true. And a lot of people were saying that Paul was just really obnoxious. I'm reading this USA Today article. It says the first is that you find Paul obnoxious and wanted to see Tyson inflict pain on the YouTube star, which is a perfectly reasonable conclusion. USA Today is shady. And then, of course, it says the second part always yearns to feel whatever you felt back in the late 80s, that Tyson was the baddest man on the planet. And it's true, right? A lot of people was holding that nostalgia, including his entire panel. As you guys heard in my last video, the entire panel thought that Tyson was going to beat Jake Paul. Um, but Jake Paul does have youth and vigor on his side. That's not something that should be overlooked. You know what I mean? Things you do in your 20s. He's only 27. He's not even, he's half of Mike Tyson's age as opposed to being 58. And listen, Tyson looked great. You know what I mean? Like he trained. He really did. He held his own. Um, he didn't win by too many points. Okay. Paul did. So I don't know what Paul is boasting about. I guess the fact that, him having won a fight against a 60-year-old man, in my opinion, that's not something to brag about. That would be like, me going to a kindergarten class, and saying, well, I know X, Y, and Z. Like, that's not something to boast about. You know what I mean? Or going to a nursing home and trying to fight somebody in a nursing home. In my opinion, that's not something to brag and boast about. But Mike Tyson is a legend. And I'm glad that, he was able to hold his own. So one thing he kept doing, though, he was slow to get out from the corner. And he was, like biting his glove. I don't know if his wraps weren't, I don't know if there was an issue with that. But he says that oh, hold on. It says Ariel Helwani said that the match is more fun and he has a biting fixation. So I guess that's why Tyson was gnawing on his glove. We've never seen that before, so maybe that's something new. But let me get into these highlights really quickly. So in the first round, they said that Tyson went into the center of the ring really fast. He landed an overhead right. Paul made Tyson chase him around the ring, which was a smart move, right? Because he was tiring him out. Boxing is extremely, extremely, I don't want to say exhausting, but as far as cardio, it's great cardio. But that's definitely a strategic move to tire your opponent out. So Paul landed a right. Tyson threw a low shot, and then Tyson caught a hard right. That was the first round. The second round, the fighters were holding in the center. They were doing some measuring. Roy Jones Jr., he was an analyst. He said he didn't like Tyson's legs. They were a bit wobbly. He had a brace on his right knee. So round 2 pretty much held its own. Round 3, Tyson took a hit and he started to take some bad shots. He stumbled after a shot from Paul. His age was clearly showing by the third round. Paul is faster. And again, that's youth and vigor on his side. Round 4, Paul was extremely active. Tyson took a body shot. Paul had, he had a left hook that landed. There was some people started to boo, which again, this isn't your typical fight because Mike Tyson is almost in his 60s, 58. Most people don't fight in their 50s, but he came out of retirement for this, and I'm glad that he got a $20 million purse. He earned it, in my opinion. So by this time, Paul has 33 points. Tyson has 32 points. So I'm saying it wasn't that far off. They're acting like, like it wasn't a knockout punch. It wasn't, anything that was like huge as far as disproportionate numbers in regards to scoring. Tyson held his own. Round 5, he was trying to target Tyson's chin, but Tyson was slipping him. He wasn't hitting it. Paul kept his hands low. And then round 6, Roy Jones Jr. says that he thinks that we're going to see more from Mike, that the feeling was strong. Tyson was a bit slower, of course, because he's 58. But that round was Paul 53, Tyson 50 in regards to points. Round 7 is, Tyson was breathing heavy again. The cardiovascular exercise and just, the pacing of boxing, it wears you out really quickly. It's one of my favorite exercises. I need to get back in the ring. The scoring was Paul 63, Tyson 59, and then round 8, Paul jabs Tyson. Um, Tyson is having a hard time slipping him. Um, Paul shows respect by bowing to him in the final seconds of the fight. And Paul 73, Tyson 68. So that was the final scoring. So again, I thought it was, pretty good for everything, all the media hype. Netflix, in my opinion, was the one that got the knockout punch, because they need to work on that glitching. A lot of people were saying that pay-per-view was they held their own way back in the day. I don't know if pay-per-view is even still around, but if it is, maybe Netflix can take some lessons from them, because it was glitching. But all in all, I feel like Tyson, he held his own. He's a superior athlete. Paul is going to be insufferable. I don't really follow him like that, so it's nothing I'm really going to hear. But um, like I said, I'm glad that he held his own, and Tyson, that he held his own. I thought Tyson was going to win. You guys know that, but again, nobody beats Father Time. So for him to stand toe to toe with the 27-year-old and not get knocked out or not have any significant harm done, in my eyes, that was a win. And I'm glad that Jake Paul did show some respect, because afterwards his brother Logan was talking big cash money, his mom too, like they're all getting roasted on social media. Because the last thing you want is somebody being like, I know trash talking in boxing is a part of the game, but he's talking out the side of his neck and doing all this, um saying that he could beat him in his prime. No, he would have taken you out in probably the first 30 seconds in his prime. Could nobody touch Mike Tyson in his prime. But anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Did you watch the fight? If you did, I want to hear from you. Rosie Perez, I don't want to forget her. She was doing commentary. A lot of people didn't like it, but in my eyes, I feel like Rosie Perez, I love her voice, I love her New York, the whole aesthetic. She's been in the business since way back when, um, from being a choreographer on A Living Color with the Fly Girls, to all the Spike Lee films, to The View. I love Rosie Perez. The White Man Can't Jump. She's one of my favorite actresses. So I'm glad to see that she's still doing alive and well. She looks great as well. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.